fat in this shirt.
Really? They're gonna put me on there.
That's okay. It's okay. Like, I want you to take your camera over some more so I can see you. Just a tinge, not a lot. Okay. A little bit more. All right, yeah. That. This one you can see in good.
All right, guys, we're gonna wait for a few viewers here.
Yes, yes, yes. There go our little alarm.
That's our bell.
That's our bell right there. Oh, maybe I should turn down the music. You know what? Something I just learned is that iHeartRadio don't turn off when you go live, like other stations.
Oh.
So I hope that's not too loud in our backyard.
Hello. Welcome.
So we have one viewer. So after we get one viewer, I like to go ahead and get started. Sorry, y'all. This thing right here is just... Oh, my goodness. All right. Hi, our one viewer. Y'all, I had to turn down the music in the background just in case Facebook or anybody heard it. We do not own the right to the music. I thought it was going to turn off when we went live, but it didn't. But welcome to Unwind Friday.
Happy Friday. Welcome to Unwind Friday, guys. As you know, I am your girl, Lissa Black, bringing you the heat with a little street.
And I am Marie, certified life and health coach, bringing you tools that you can use.
All right. So today we have a amazing topic for you. We want to switch gears just a little bit, but it's still in our lane of mental health wellness. So our topic today, we'll let Marie start.
Self-esteem. So we had one of our viewers say, could you talk about building self-esteem? I'm like, oh, awesome. That is awesome. What happened to mine that I had, you know? So I'm like, that is awesome. Of course we could talk about building self-esteem because self-esteem is so important because self-esteem can affect virtually every facet of our life, our jobs, our relationships, our careers. If you're an entrepreneur and it can affect you being successful in that area, it's just that important. Self-esteem is that important. So I just want to, because self-esteem can just sometimes bring up things to you that's not true. It can make you think people are talking about you when they're not talking about you. It can make you feel like people don't like you. And it all can just be an inside job. It can be from a lack of self-esteem. So when that topic was brought to us, I said, let's do it. Let's research it. And let's talk about this topic. But before we get started, I'd like to ask you a question. Have any of you guys ever dealt with low self-esteem? And if you do, please comment below if you're comfortable enough. Have any of you guys ever dealt with low self-esteem and was able to get over it? Comment what you did to get over low self-esteem. I can tell you guys when I was younger, I had low self-esteem because I was dark-skinned. Because back in the times growing up in the early 90s, I'm an 80s baby, y'all. I just turned 40 last Monday, but I'm an 80s baby. And so when I went to school, dark skin was not in. You know, and when people did tell me I was pretty, they used to say, you pretty for a dark-skinned girl.
I hate that. That's such
so, it took me a while to just be comfortable with me. And that was like in my late 20s before I became before my self-esteem was built up and I became all the way confident with every flaw that I had and everything that was a part of me.
So with that being said, I'm going to up you guys one. So I know Marie said comment if you ever felt like you had low self-esteem and how'd you overcome it. But do you remember what made you have low self-esteem? Like Marie said, being dark-skinned, growing up, when dark-skinned people, like dark-skinned women especially, we wasn't hot. We wasn't in, right? People didn't like you simply because you were dark-skinned. And they'll say backhanded comments like, you're pretty for a dark-skinned girl. So do you remember what took your confidence? What, made you feel down? So, because in this tonight, kind of a brief overview, we're going to kind of give you steps, right? And give you things that can make you feel low self-esteem. And then as always, we're going to give you some tips on how to build
and
yourself.
Some tools to put in your toolbox.
Yes.
And even though every Friday we give you these tools as we're unwinding for the week, but we give you these tools You have to open your toolbox and take them back out and use them in your life, or it won't mean nothing just hearing it.
Yes.
Because you don't if you don't act on the information that we're giving you every Friday and use the information to better yourself, it's just going like parents used to tell us, it's going in one ear and out the other. So you'll never be built up, you'll never be edified. So I would like to tell you what we're before we get into these steps, tell you what we're unwinding with this beautiful Friday after a long week of working. And you guys comment, let us know what you're
Right.
unwinding with.
All right, do you want me to do it? I'll do
I'll
it.
let them know. I'm
gonna do it?
unwinding with water. Psycho just said.
I was gonna say, don't do that. So normally we always have our Michigan wine, but we switched it up this week. A lot of y'all remember this gem because it was big last year. But nevertheless, we went with it today. So this
So
is
margarita
the
wine.
Gloria Margarita wine. So for the
And
wine
you guys,
drinkers,
guess what? It's from Skinny, so it's only 100 calories per serving. You
Yes.
know, I'm down with that. And it's a mango. I love the
Wow.
strawberry, but we're trying the mango.
Yes. So let's jump into our topic. Let's get started.
Yes. So we're going to start with the first, step that we want you to do is identifying troubling conditions and situations. Think about the conditions or situations that seem to deflate your self-esteem. So common triggers may include a work or school presentation, a crisis at work or home, a challenge with a spouse, loved one, co-worker, or other close contact, a change in roles or life circumstances such as a job loss or a child leaving home. This can mess with your self-esteem because it takes you out of your place. So like you getting a job change, you might not feel like you're, you know what I'm saying, what is the word I'm trying to use? Competent enough for that job.
Yeah.
So it can mess with your lifestyle, or your kid leaving home and now you don't know what to do because now you dedicated your life to taking care of these kids and now it's time to move into your purpose and now your self-esteem is low because you're not sure what to do next.
Yes. So, after you identify troubling situations, we want you to be aware. We want you to become aware of your thoughts and your beliefs. So, we want you to do some self-talk, right? So, and then you pay attention to those troubling situations and think about how did that make you feel? So, when you're doing your self-talk, you're going to remember your thoughts, they can be positive, they can be negative, and they can be neutral, right? Some of them can be rational and some of them can be irrational based on false thoughts. Because sometimes a lot of us are thinkers. We go home, we go through a situation, and then our minds start to add things on. Maybe they met this, or maybe she met that, or maybe they tried to embarrass me. So now your thoughts have become irrational. And then now even if you don't try, you unconsciously start to live through those things. So then you can become like your self-esteem can become lower because you're thinking like, oh, well, maybe she thought this about me, or maybe she said that because I wasn't cute enough, or I wasn't this or that. So definitely be aware of your thoughts and where they're taking you. So now our step 2 is become aware of your thoughts and beliefs. So your experience of things, as we said many times in many topics, are going to be based on your background, your beliefs, your experiences. And that other person may not even ever thought that way. So it's all communication is also going to be key. You want to communicate. So did you mean this? Why did you say that? So asking those open-ended questions so you can get more information so that you don't find yourself being hard on yourself and becoming not as confident in yourself.
So you wanted to make sure you ask yourself, if these beliefs, are they true? Would you say them to a friend? If you wouldn't say them to someone else, don't say them to yourself. And that was in. So number 3 is challenge negative or inaccurate thinking. I just talked about it. So, I have a session that I do on the critter brain. So the critter brain is the part of our brain that controls our emotions. I know the name to it, but I would not butch the word right now. But it's the part of the brain that controls your emotions, your feeling, your fight or flight. And sometimes it criticizes us or give us inaccurate thoughts. Like say if one day Melissa was just busy, say she was in her own mind because she might have got in an argument with her husband prior to coming, and I say hi to her and she doesn't say hi back to me. I could take that thought and be like, yeah, she don't like me. And then if I believe that thought, everything that Melissa does is going to seem like she doesn't like me
Right.
because I chose to make it negative. Or I can take that thought and say, she might be having a hard day today, or she didn't see me, and try again. And that will change the thought. So your initial thought might not be the only way to view a situation. So test the accuracy of your thought. Ask yourself whether your view is consistent with facts and logic, or whether other explanations for the situation might be plausible. Be aware that it can be hard to recognize inaccuracies in thinking. Long held thoughts and beliefs can feel normal and factual, even though many are just opinions and perceptions. So, I also want you to pay attention to thought patterns that erode self esteem. And I'm going to give you some of these patterns so that you can be aware, because once you become aware, you can choose to take action on it to make yourself so you don't have to deal with low self-esteem. So some of them is all or nothing thinking. You see things either all good or all bad. For example, if you don't succeed in this task, I'm a total failure. That's not true, because you didn't exceed in that succeed in that that part. That means that, okay, that's not for you, or you just need more practice or something. It doesn't make you a failure. Mental filtering. You see only negative and dwell on them, distorting your view of a person or situation. For example, I made a mistake on that report, and now everyone will realize that I'm not up to this job. Like putting thoughts and words in somebody else's, mind.
Yeah.
I did it recently. I'm guilty. I did it. You want to know when I did it? Now, we just had the Heart of an Entrepreneur, right? And I got on stage. I was one of the speakers. And when I was up there, sometimes, you guys, when I get nervous, I stutter. So I felt myself stuttering. So I thought to myself, like, oh, I just messed everything that I planned for weeks. I messed it up, and I started having like anxiety, and my self-esteem was feeling pretty down. But when I got off that stage and we had a break from the speakers, everybody started coming up to me like, I love what you did. I love what you did. And I accepted that, and my self-esteem was built right back up. So it's important not to mental filtering. And so the third one is converting positive things into negatives. You reject your achievements and other positive experiences by insisting that they don't count. For example, I only did well on that test because it was so easy. No, don't downplay your greatness. You did great because you're great.
Like Chris Sang said, you don't got time to be humble.
You don't got no, that was Chris Mathis.
That's Chris Mathis.
Chris Mathis. Yes.
Oh yeah, you're right, Chris Mathis. I knew it was a Chris.
Yes, accept your greatness. You don't have to be humble when it comes to your hard work. So don't downplay yourself, because it makes you have low self-esteem. If you did good, be like, girl, I did good. Like, I did good, making it to 40. Look how fine I am. I mean, I just can't believe it.
See? I congratulate me on everything.
And another one is jumping to negative conclusions. Don't jump to negative conclusions. You reach a negative conclusion when little or no evidence supports it. For example, my friend hasn't replied to my email, so I must have done something to make her angry. Why your friend couldn't just be busy? Why they couldn't just been working her hard at work, or she had a tiring day and she plans on getting back to you the next day? Do you agree?
Yeah.
Don't jump to negative conclusion. Always try to, and one way to talk is talking back to yourself. I always say, take that, because I do reframing. If you guys need a reframing session, let me know. Reframing your negative thoughts to a positive. So say, if I had a negative thought about, what's a negative thought that you have that we can reframe really fast?
Like, basically, like you said, like things you should have, I should have did that. Or, man, why did I do that? And then you can always like reframe that, like, you know what, I did this, but next time.
But I don't want you to say this, that, because I want us to make it deep for them. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like to give a like.
So like an actual, I'm just.
Yeah, like an actual example.
In
Yeah, because we want it, because we want some people might get what you're saying, but other people might be like, okay. I want it to be like a real situation, something like a real situation, like a thought that you probably had that you can reframe.
Okay. When all right, y'all. So like when because I have anxiety, and sometimes my thoughts I try to re-guide them, right? So, like, if I have a negative thought, like, this is going to happen, right? Because one thing about anxiety, even though you know that this might not never happen, it just feels so real. I don't know if anybody have anxiety or have dealt with anxiety. So sometimes I find myself thinking of stuff, and then, like she said, when people don't respond to my text promptly, I cuss them out in my head when I know they could be busy. And that happens.
That's perfect. That's perfect right there,
Thank
Stephanie,
you.
because because I put Melissa on the spot.
Yeah.
But that's perfect because instead of like thinking like they ignore me or something, you could just tell yourself that way you won't cuss them out in your head. You know what, they could be busy and I'm going to give them time to respond back to me. You know, now after 24 hours, I don't know what you know what, but but you still want to just give them time because I know days, guys, I have days where I'm totally exhausted, and when I get home, I fall asleep. So everybody will be calling me, and I'm asleep. So that means I'm not ignoring you.
And another good example for you, Stephanie, and I use this because I love that you handled it right then and there. You could have eased, like when I didn't see you, like, and I didn't know you were you, because I had briefly turned around when we seen each other in public, and you could have easily like let that slide, and then later on been like, she was acting funny, she here, she there, but because you handled it right there, I was able to like clear it up. Like, you know what? I promise I did not see you because I didn't even turn around. I was kind of rushing to hurry up and clock in and get to what I was doing. So I think that's also a good example because you handled it right there. We was able to fix it right there. And then it took away any room for like negative thinking or like, oh, she was acting funny or whatever it was. When I'm like, girl, I'm blind, and I didn't even turn around really. I was like, oh hey, and kept moving. So I like that example.
And then the last one is mistaking feelings for facts. You confuse feelings or beliefs with facts. For example, I feel like a failure, so I must be a failure. That is not facts. You know, we can feel all type of ways, but feelings are not facts. Feelings and emotions can be everywhere. They are not facts. Y'all, let me tell y'all, some days when I'm really exhausted and tired, I start having a bunch of negative thoughts, and I tell myself, I'm not going to make any decisions today because I know that with my feelings that I will make the wrong decisions. Because you know how sometimes you just feel, and you can feel the negativity. So it's best to like, you know what? I'm going to go take a nap because this right here ain't real.
Or I'm going to go eat.
I'm going to go eat because I become hangry.
Right.
And then the last one is negative self-talk. You undervalue yourself, put yourself down, or use self-depreciating humor. For example, I don't deserve anything better. I meet a lot of people like that use self-depreciation humor of themselves. Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I'm not good enough to be your friend, this and that. You're good enough because God said you're good enough. You're one of our sisters and brothers in Christ. We're here. We're here. We're here. It's only you who believe that, so you need to believe something different for yourself. If you believe that I'm great, you need to believe that you're great too, because guess what? God created both of us.
So I am going to use Marie example into the segue, as a segue into the next step. So like Marie said, when she already thought, like, you know, after you was up there and you got a little nervous and you felt like, you know what? This ain't gonna go well. Man, all the things I planned for didn't work out. Now we want you to adjust your thoughts. Number 4, adjust your thoughts and beliefs. So use hopeful statements. Treat yourself with kindness. Like, instead of you saying like, man, I'm gonna fail on this. I'm gonna do terrible. Tell yourself, even though it's gonna be tough, I can handle this. Right? And then the next one is gonna be forgive yourself. We all make mistakes. Don't be hard on yourself, because we easily to forgive somebody else, and it's hard for us to forgive ourselves for things that we've been through or things that we've done, because we are only human. We are all going to make mistakes. Avoid should and must statements. That's when I tell y'all, like, I should have did that, or they must have thought that. Avoid those statements, because those statements can only bring negative thoughts. It can only lower your self-esteem. And that's why we want you guys to avoid those. So then we want you to remove the words from your thoughts, and that can lead to realistic expectations. So instead of you saying, I should have or I must have, let's focus on the facts of the situation, of what did happen. So that way you're not thinking negative. And then focus on the positive about it. Think about the parts of your life that work well, things that are going good in your life. Always when Marie start her sessions as a coach, you always say,
What's going well in the last 7 days of your life?
Exactly. So that's taking you out of any negative thought process, and you start to focus on what's going well for me. What are the good things in my life? So consider skills you use to cope with challenging situations. That's another way to focus on the positive. So you start thinking about those skills that you are using to cope with these situations, even though they hard. Your strengths. So that's another one of your things in your coaching session that you use is strengths. And then consider what you've learned. What have this situation taught me? What have I learned from this situation?
Or past negative experiences.
Yeah. So if the experience was negative, what might you do differently the next time to create a more positive outcome? So instead of you dwelling on what was negative, you like, you know what, next time I'm gonna probably put a little more time into studying. Next time I'm gonna do this or take this different approach. And then you want to relabel upsetting a thought. And that's when I say redirect your thoughts. Reframe those
Talking
things.
back to that critter brain.
Yes. So you don't need to react to negativity or negative thoughts. Instead, think of negative thoughts as signals to try new healthy patterns. Ask yourself, what can I think and do to make it less stressful? And then last, you want to encourage yourself. Build yourself up. You did everything you can do. Always say, do your best, and that's the best you can do. Or and every time somebody else do something, I say, you did what you could. That's it. You did what you could, and that's what it is. So never saying nothing negative, even if they didn't do well, or even if they know they didn't do well. I always tell them, well, you did what you could. It's no sense of dwelling on that situation because you did exactly what you could, and that's all we can ask from you. So just redirect that. So you can say things like, my presentation might not have been perfect, but my colleagues ask questions and remain engaged. So that's when you focus on that positive. They remain engaged, they ask questions, which means I accomplished my goal.
So same thing about when I was on stage.
Exactly.
It didn't go as I planned it when I was practicing and preparing for it, but it went well because people came to me and it was like, I like it, I like your genuineness. So I accomplished my goal.
Yeah.
So I just want to say, you want to try these steps based on acceptance and commitment therapy. So one way to help you build self-esteem, and one thing, if you're one of those people who did go to the Hunter Entrepreneur, every speaker basically kind of touched on the same thing. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
And I know it was the way God had it flow because we didn't have a topic and nobody knew what each other was going to say. And one thing that they kept saying is the way you speak to yourself.
Yes.
So your self-esteem is going to rely on the way you believe and speak, because what you say to yourself is what you're going to believe about yourself. So if you say, I'm not good enough, I'm fat, or I'm ugly, this and that, you're going to believe that because that's what you're feeding your mind. What comes out of your mouth go back in through your ear, your inner ear, because we have an outer and an inner ear. So it goes back into your inner ear and it goes into your heart and you believe it. So you want to reframe those words to something positive.
And what you do most is what you do best.
Yes, it is. So even if you do feel that you're overweight, don't talk down on yourself. You tell yourself that, you know what? I'm going to burn you off. Instead of saying I'm fat and ugly when I look in the mirror, I'm working you off. You falling off of me. Or when you look at yourself, if you can't say nothing else nice about yourself, guess what the Word of God says? Word of God says that you were beautifully and wonderfully made. Speak that if you can't find any good words.
You know what? When I thought of what you said, I thought about things you said in coaching sessions. Speak to yourself as if you are your best self. If you pictured yourself as your best self, what would you say to yourself? You wouldn't be saying negative things to yourself, right? You're going to be like, I am successful. I am strong. I'm an effective leader. You're going to be saying positive things to yourself if you think of yourself as your best self, because that's the way to get to your best self. It's already living in that moment, right? Because if you live in it and you speak in it, it's going to come to pass. It's going to become natural. And then, so you never speak down on yourself. Speak to yourself as if you are already doing everything you want to do.
And it's true. And you know, one way when I meet women who are like their low self esteem are down there in this relationship they want to get out of,
Mm-hmm.
because I never tell people to leave relationships, or
Right.
I never use that to build their self esteem. So what I do, if they have a little girl or a kid, because all of us love our kid and we want the best for our children, right?
Yes. Say good morning,
Good
gorgeous, when you
morning,
wake up.
gorgeous. Absolutely.
Exactly.
And all of us love our children, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I tell people, speak to yourself how you would speak to your child about this situation. That really changed that thought. Because would you tell your child? Well, we have some people, but they need different type of help from coaching.
Mm-hmm.
The ones who do speak to their kids like they're nothing. They have deep trauma that's going on, and they need some deep help and some prayer and Jesus and
Yes.
deliverance. However, I'm talking about probably 80% of people who wants the best for their children. Speak to yourself how you speak to your
We love you
children.
too.
When you think, I love you too, Angel. When you think about yourself in certain situations, think about, if my child was in that situation, what would I say to my
Yes.
child?
I like
That
that.
helps you.
It
What would
does.
you say to your child if your child was like, came to you and said, "Oh, mama, I think I'm so stupid." What would you say to your child,
I would say,
Melissa?
baby, you are beautiful. You are smart. If you did something wrong, everybody make mistakes. And you can fix that mistake. So that's the same thing you want to be saying to yourself. You know what? You are strong.
Absolutely.
You are smart. You can do this.
Absolutely.
Everybody make mistakes.
Absolutely.
And mistakes can be fixed.
Mhm.
You can correct those, right? So speak to yourself positive. So that's
Give
great.
yourself grace
And room to grow.
and room to grow. All of us, everybody in this, even the people who we think because they are so successful, they go through these battles that we go through, and they go through it on a higher level.
Yes.
If you look at the celebrity, just imagine what they go through. Everybody know their life. Everybody's online criticizing them. They go through normal stuff, but it's so big, magnified,
Yeah.
because they're in the eye of the world. We don't have to go through that, and so you have to have the capability. Nobody else, if even if you don't have anybody else to build you up, God gave you the power to build yourself up. One thing that I do, and your action step is going to be for this week, is every day look in the mirror and tell yourself you love yourself.
Yes.
Look in the mirror and say, Stephanie or Angel or whoever else is watching, my name is Marie. Hi, Marie. Like Stephanie said, good morning, gorgeous.
Yes.
You are beautifully and wonderfully made in God's image. You can, like me, I tell myself, you are a successful coach.
Right. And you know what?
You are a
Today,
good mother.
yes. And
You
I don't
know?
want to cut you off. Today I had what you call an aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
I found myself sometimes being hard on myself, feeling like, you know what, you should be here, you should be there. And then I sat down, y'all. We had this big meeting. For some of y'all who know kind of what I do, or some of you don't. I work in the corporate world, if you will, and I'm always in large meetings.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, but you should.
You should love yourself.
Because God loves you,
Yes.
and I love you. But you can start loving yourself by saying loving things to yourself every day. It's going to be a struggle, but I promise you it can build you up. I'm going to send you a link too so we can do a session together
Yes.
and talk about some things so that you can feel edified and build up. So I'm going to inbox you a link so we can talk about that, because it's important that you love
And
yourself.
please tune in, because we're gonna change that outlook. We're gonna help you change that outlook. Truly. So back to this quick story. So I'm in this meeting, guys, and it's a large meeting. And like I said, I found myself being hard on myself. And then when I looked around the room, I was the only black woman in the room. I was one of 3 black people in the room. And then I remember some of the things people said to me, like when I started working for Gordon Food Corporation. You ain't gonna be able to get in there. You gotta be family. You gotta know somebody. Not only did I get into that corporation, but I brought friends with me. So I'm like, anytime somebody tell me what I cannot do, I show them what I can do. So I'm sitting in this room and I'm like, you know what? Everybody that looked like me, they normally put them in the lower end, harder jobs, the more labor intensive jobs. And little old me, I felt like I made it here where I can make a difference, where I can build a bridge for my people, where I can bring other people in and get them to where people said we could not go. I'm sitting in
So you
rooms
realized that you was blessed and highly favored.
I realized I was blessed and highly favored.
Absolutely.
And God has shined the light on me that I get into those places people say, you won't be able to get in there because you got to be family. You got to know somebody.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Did that, after you had that realization, did that build your self-confidence?
It built my self-confidence. I said, you know what? I'm hard on myself, but I have made it to rooms and doors that people may not make it to, that people don't even believe they can make it to. And then not only did I make it to those doors, I brought people with me. And I said, you know what? I'm the bridge, and I'm going to continue to bring people with me. And that made me feel good because I said, you know what? This is just a stepping stone because I am confident I'm going to the next level. And then I'm going to bring some other people in with me. So, you know, when I'm sitting there and they had that moment, I started feeling very different because people will say things and they drop seeds and you start feeling negative about what you doing until you realize what you have overcame and what you have become and what you did to get there. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I know who I am, and now I know why I'm here. So I know what I got to do.
So, because I was thinking about when you said that, and I was thinking about the last comment that we got when we said that, one thing that I want, so now I have another action step, which is fine, because I usually give out 3 action steps at a time when I'm having coaching sessions. And anybody who wants a free coaching session, your first coaching session with me is always free. I'll post a link, my scheduling link, so you can schedule and get on my schedule for a time that works for you. Because it's important. I'm telling you, it's important. God wants us to love ourselves. God, when God created us, He said it's good. It's not one thing that He said in the Word after He created the earth and human and mankind and animal that was bad. He said it was good. So that means you are good. You're created exactly the way you're supposed to be created. And I don't want anybody to feel bad because all of us have those moments where we don't love ourselves.
Right. And I want to take this moment to commend you for saying it.
Absolutely.
For being bold and brave enough to say that. Because a lot of us, we deal with that internally. So I want to commend you for saying that because this is a non-judgment zone.
Absolutely.
This is where we want you to be able to drop comments like that and to interact and engage because we want to help you change that outlook.
Absolutely.
Our channel is meant for mental health wellness, to help the edifying.
And edifying means to build up, encourage, to teach. That's what edifying means. And so that's what we're here for, to edify. And when you said that, you used the word boldness. She has boldness. So that was my next action step. I would like for you guys to sit down and write down, look it, for 3 minutes, set a timer for 3 minutes, and nonstop write about all the good things about yourself.
Yes.
The good things that you know that you have about yourself. Denise, we already know that you're bold. And I know you're beautiful and kind and loving. Those are 4 things that I know
and
for sure.
Strong from what you overcame. Because you are here today.
Yes. So there we go. We got 5 things for you, Denise, already. But for everybody else, I would like your action steps will be to write down, take 3 minutes, to set a timer, and just write, and don't stop until your timer go off. All the things that you know that are good about you.
And we're going to check on y'all next week.
Yes.
We always
and you can always inbox us your list, or you can schedule your free coaching section to tell me about it. And then your second action step is to get up every morning and say, good morning, gorgeous. Good morning, beautiful. I love you. I love you, Marie. Or I love you, Terry. Or I love you, Elliot, in the mirror to yourself every day. That will build your self-esteem. That will build your confidence. I promise you this. And I don't make a lot of promises, but I promise if you will get up every day and talk good to yourself in the mirror, it's going to build you up.
Yes. Because and you more than what you already know. You made it through a pandemic. You made it through a recession. You made it through all the odds in your family. You made it to all those things.
And made it through things that you didn't share with people.
Things that you have not shared with people. No telling what you've been through, but you have made it. You are here today. So you have overcame.
So you
all
are
those
resilient.
Things. Exactly.
You are resilient. You are strong. You are beautiful. You are bold. You are made in God's image.
Yes.
The Word of God says that you are beautifully and wonderfully made in the image of God.
Yes.
You are the workmanship of God's hand. You are everything that God created you to be. Yes. So we would like you to every morning get up in the morning and speak that over yourself.
Yes.
Build yourself up And then I would like for you guys to take 3 minutes. Set a timer on your phone. Everybody got a timer on their phone. And write all the characteristics that you know that are good about you and speak that over yourself. After you write them down every day, get up, look at yourself in that mirror. And if you need a mirror, I will send it to you. I hand out mirrors to about 50 people on Saturday, didn't I, Melissa?
Yes.
So that they can speak, so they don't have no excuse. Keep that mirror with you, so even if they out on the road and feel low self-esteem, that they can stop and speak. You know what? I got this. I'm more than good enough for this job.
Yes.
I'm good enough for this. I'm you know what I'm saying? Just so they can just speak
And
life
not only
into
are you good enough for that job, but they lucky to have you.
Exactly.
You are lucky to have you. Like other. Hey, look, I'm on his speech.
Exactly.
Like Chris said, slide your resume across the table and let them know who they
dealing with. Let them know that you.
Exactly.
That they should be happy to have you.
And
like
above,
they said on In Color Purple. 2 snaps in a circle. No, I had to say
and so, and above all those things, you are loved.
You are loved.
Whether you know it or not,
because I know you love, because you're loved by me and you're loved by Melissa.
You are loved.
We have come to the end of our. As a matter of fact, we're 5 minutes over, but we don't care.
But thank you guys so much for joining us. As always, if you have a topic that you would like to discuss, please drop it in the comments. We will do the research for you, and we will bring it before you. So that's all you have to do is drop your topic in the comments, and we'll talk about it.
Make sure you guys like, comment, and share. Please subscribe to our YouTube. Share it. Please watch the video. If you came in late, please rewatch this video on YouTube. And share with everybody if you know somebody who needs to be edified and built up. And we love you guys.
And have a good weekend.
Good weekend. Good night, everybody. We love you.